لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. گزشتہ دنوں میں امریکہ کی بعض جماعتوں کے دورے پر تھا.
Recently, I was on a tour of various Jamaats in the United States of America. As you are aware, through MTA and also through Jamaat electronic media, the coverage was done. With the grace of the Almighty Allah, this tour concluded safely and successfully. Various other secular channels also did a lot of coverage of this. In every respect, the blessings of Allah the Almighty were clear to be seen, both upon us the Ahmadis. This tour had a very righteous effect, and it also had an effect upon non-Ahmadis. One Khadim, a youth, said to one of his friends that in my mind, regarding the Jamaat and Khilafat, there were some misgivings in my mind. I had some reservations in my heart, which now have been entirely eliminated from my mind because of this tour. There are many similar tours, positive impacts that have been recorded. Then youngsters, women, children, after doing mulaqat, a private audience, their sentiments, that is a long list in itself, and you would have read it in the various reports. Then in Zion, in Dallas, and also in Beit Rahman in Maryland, at the time of prayers, women, children and men used to populate the mosques and fill the mosques, and they used to be there in large numbers. And the way when I used to walk outside, they used to express their emotions, it was clear that in their hearts they had true love and devotion with Khilafat, and they had loyalty and dedication. They were intellectuals and educated people. They were rich people, people who were very engaged in the worldly tasks, yet some of them waited hours upon hours waiting in the lines for prayer so they can have space to enter the mosque. It was not just that they had nothing to do and had free time when they came. Rather, even such category of people expressed this emotion, expressed this dedication, and expressed this mentality and approach. And this actually expresses that with the grace of the Almighty Allah, in the matters of religion and faith, it is instilled in their heart, as well as a connection with Khilafat. We're waiting 5 or 6 hours in the lines for prayers. Because of the COVID checking and other things, it took long. Yet, no one raised any objection whatsoever. In fact, one guest in Zion saw this and said how smooth the whole system was running. Anon Ahmadi stated this, that despite the checking, despite everything else, there was no one raising any complaints or objections. In fact, they showed complete obedience to the administration, and they displayed role models or exemplary behavior in terms of behavior. A father of an 11, 12-year-old child said, "Since you have come, our child comes and waits 5 or 6 hours before for the prayers, and he does not care about anything else. Although he never came before as a result of a fear of prayer or fear of coming to the prayer. But in the boys and the girls and the men and the women, I saw happiness, I saw contentment, I saw joy. And this is the grace of Allah the Almighty upon our community. The people who came for prayers everywhere, it was far greater than what was expected by the organizers. May Allah make it so that this connection with the mosques and this concern for worship becomes something permanent in them, and that the mosques remain populated permanently. Just like the sincerity and dedication that was shown by the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, may it remain a habit in them forever. In a country like the United States of America, people believe that people forget religion and the faith. However, I saw in the majority an attention and concern towards the faith. Those who are weak in financial sacrifices, they too, for their children and future generations, would specially request me for prayers to connect their children and future generations with the Jamaat and Khilafat. May Allah enable the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the United States of America to continuously increase in dedication. The Lajna, the Khudam, the Ansar, the women, the elders and the children and the men carried out their responsibilities and duties excellently. The women stayed awake for many days carrying out preparations. And with the grace of Almighty Allah, as I stated, there was a lot of people everywhere in their thousands who attended. In Bet ar-Rahman, sometimes it increased beyond the attendance they get for Jalsa, the annual convention, but yet they carried out their duties very dutifully and with great discipline. May Allah make it so that the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the United States of America always elevate and increase this sentiment of dedication, and may this transformation not be temporary. In fact, let it be permanent. At this time, I will also present some sentiments of the non-Ahmadis. Allah the Almighty also put extraordinary impact in the hearts of the non-Ahmadis. May Allah the Almighty continuously increase their hearts, and may they be those who recognize the truth. Anyhow, I shall present some sentiments now. In the Mosque of Fateh Azim, the Grand Victory in Zion was constructed, and there was a function, an event that was held there. 161 non-Ahmadi guest attendants, including congressmen, congresswomen, mayors, doctors, professors, teachers, lawyers, engineers, and also various other experts and professionals, people who hail from all walks of life, were present. The mayor of the Zion city, Honorable Billy McKinney, said in his sentiments the following: that for me, for the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community to welcome him in Zion at the opening of the Grand Mosque Victory is a great honor for me. Historic past and dynamic future is the motto of Zion city, and in the heart of our city is now a beautiful mosque which is an exemplary reflection of this motto. It's our prayer and wish that this worship place between our past and future will prove to be something that bridges the gap. And this opening is filled with representatives from different backgrounds and gives hope to the Zion city as well. When I see this message of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community that they have brought to this city, it fills me with joy. And even the joy and hope resonates with us, the non-Ahmadis. Then he states, this is such an Ahmadiyya community that reveres the Holy Prophet Muhammad, who made a covenant with Christians. Then he writes, the great services given by the Ahmadiyya community in this city and the work they have done to further our success is something that I am truly grateful for. And we give the keys of the city to the Imam, the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Then he handed me the keys of the city. The mayor of the Zion city further I am present here since 1960. And this is a very historical event in the history of Zion, or 1962. And in a great emotional fashion, he said to me that today you have left me speechless. And he said that we truly feel your presence. Honorable Joyce Mason, member of Illinois Assembly, said in his sentiments, this historic occasion of the opening of the victory of the Grand Mosque is something very privileged to me. This is a very historic location. Today is a special day in this city. Zion was such a place that was made in the beginning of the previous century by Alexander Dowie, who wanted to make this a theocratic city. The doors of the city were closed for everyone except his own followers. But today, this Zion is a place for people of different faiths and backgrounds. This is a sign of the prayers of the believers. I give congratulations to the Ahmadiyya community on this fantastic and extraordinary achievement. Even non-Ahmadis fully understand the importance of this. Then they said that there is a leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and he has stressed upon peace and has spoken to various world leaders upon this and spoken to lawmakers on universal human rights and peace and just society. It's a great fortune of Zion that such a peace-loving and service-oriented community has decided to settle down here and build such a beautiful mosque. It is my fervent wish that this mosque becomes a beacon of hope not just for this city but for all around. And I give congratulations on the opening of this new mosque and I am presenting a House resolution upon the inauguration of this new mosque. Then Dr. Katrina Lantis, who is a president of the Lantis Foundation for Human Rights and Justice, said, I feel that whenever I meet members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, that I increase in my spirituality. Then she says that after hearing about this prayer duel in Zion, it truly astonished me that in that time when there was no mobile phones, computers, or other electronics available, there was so much publicity upon this challenge. There was one view of John Alexander Dowie, which was based on hatred, enmity, and also prejudice. And the other was from the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, which was based on mutual respect and harmony and tolerance. And it was from such an individual who left everything in the hands of Allah. We know the conclusion and the result of this prayer duel of who came out victorious. Most certainly, this mosque, which is now going to be inaugurated, which is named Fateh Azim, the Mosque of the Grand Victory, means a grand victory, and which the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and the founder won. But I believe, she says, that it is not only a victory of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, but a victory for humanity, because through this, mutual respect, love, and tolerance gained victory. And we see the embodiment of this in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Then she says that we are now sitting here today in this peaceful and tolerant atmosphere. There we would have to also remember those Ahmadis who are facing persecution on a daily basis in Pakistan through unimaginable torture, cruelty, and injustices, which is being done on the behest of the government, and they feel alone. The former commissioner of Zion also expressed their sentiments and said, your teachings encompass all aspects and the world needs to be more familiar with it. I believe that this is a beautiful secret for the world to learn today. I see justice, love, and tolerance in this message. This is what the world stands in need for today. If we end hatred in the world will become paradise-like. The entire world needs to listen to this message. This is the one solution to the problems in the world today. Professor Craig Considine, who also wrote a book on the life of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, he is a professor, but he is a Christian. He said, I am very emotional and sentimental that the Khalifa of the time met me like an old friend. I really loved the speech of the leader of the Ahmadiyya community, which increased my knowledge in Islam. When I get the script of this speech, I will include it in my book. The leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, in an excellent manner, in simple words, presented this teaching that everyone can understand it easily. All human values that need to be accepted, self-respect, tolerant, and all of these perspectives he drew our attention towards. I really like this. He says, in fact, you are calling us all towards mutual affection. He also heard the Friday sermon there for 1 hour. And then after this he said to me as well, I have never heard such a Friday sermon before. Melody Hall, who is from Illinois, states, I am a product development manager. This program was excellent. I took a lot of delight from it. The leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community's message means there is no room for bias and prejudice. It was a beautiful message and a splendid message. To hear you, to listen to you, had a great effect upon me, and I took great delight in attending. I really liked this statement of the leader, which he said that our weapon is prayer. Jeff Fender, another guest, stated, I am a certified public accountant, and I also work in real estate. This is my first experience, and I am greatly moved. Here at the opening of this mosque, it was a very important milestone in my life. And I was very affected by the speech of His Holiness, and I have learned a great deal of new knowledge from all of you. Then he stated that this prayer duel was a new thing for me, and I will read more about it. This is how new avenues of preaching also open. A high school teacher, Mike Render, said, the message of the leader of the Ahmadiyya community and the way that he was explaining, I really liked. Many people like me can very easily understand this message. Emergency services person, Mary Lou Ibrand, also attended in this program. She said, I was greatly impacted by this program. Your message contained sincerity. There was no artificiality. It seemed genuine and authentic. Everyone can understand your daily life. Dr. Jessie Rodriguez also participated in this program. He's a superintendent for a school and says, the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community was a message of mutual tolerance. It was a glorious message. All religions and faiths hold their own importance, you said, and we can all unite. This was an excellent message. Then a local high school principal stated, the words of the Ahmadiyya community, its leader, held a special allure and attraction, and it is important for the peace of the world. Your message and motto, love for all, hatred for none, is something which resonates across all the city, towns, streets, and country. This is needed here. There is a lot of economic decline in our societies, and to remove ourselves from the societal decline, we have a desperate need to adopt this message. Another guest also attended. They also put a foundation stone at the foundation stone ceremony of the Zion Mosque, and he stated, today was a splendid day. I also was present and had the ability to lay one of the foundation stones of this mosque, and I'm so happy to see the completion of this mosque. This mosque is a way of friendship between us. The police chief of Zion, Eric Sahib, states, it was a brilliant program. I saw love and dedication from everyone towards us. This message that it is irrespective of who you are, what is important is that we should take care of each other. It is such a beautiful message that you should love everyone irrespective of who they are. One guest, Jennifer, stated, if we talk about the principles of your community, they are the highest. When you enter to Zion City, then there is a motto, love for all, hatred for none, on your old building, which we see. And this resonates with you. This remains with you, and this voice stays within you wherever you go in the city. Then another guest, Jerry Neal Sahib, who is a supervisor of Zion Town. I was astonished by the organizers. I am delighted that you were successful in your objectives. Then another guest stated, I really was delighted that such a leader is present amongst us who is representing all of us and who unites people together and joins people between them. And he speaks about how we are all united. And he speaks about how all religions are important. His message is important and moving. A female guest, Gloria, stated, that the history of Zion was very educational, although I live here, but I did not know many things about the city here at all. Then another guest stated, I took great joy from this event, and this message impacted me. Your motto, love for all, hatred for none, I was familiar with it. However, by actually seeing you with my own eyes, my belief in it has increased. So many things have moved me here. Then she said, when the leader of the Ahmadiyya community said the Holy Quran is such a book which preserves all faiths, is something which was quite new for me. I was not familiar with this concept before. Then an Indian professor, Shobana Shankar, she also met me in a private audience, a mulaqat. She's a professor of the State University in New York, and she also has research from the Abdus Salam Research Institute in Italy. She also lived in Ghana for some time. She expressed that you lived in Ghana, but your work is still alive. And she said this to me as well. The professor stated that in Africa, she has spoken to various other professors who have studied from the Ahmadiyya Girls' School. It is an excellent school for girls and is carrying out great education, and she wants to rejuvenate educational activities, and she wants to write about Ahmadis in Western Africa. The professor said she wants the help of the Ahmadiyya community in translation into local languages. Anyhow, I stated that whatever you wish, we will help with, and we will support you. In fact, in addition to Ghana, I said there are other countries which you should also include. Then in Dallas, the Betul Ikram Mosque, the House of Honors Mosque, was inaugurated. 114 new non-Ahmadis took part in this and guests. There were politicians, doctors, teachers, lawyers, engineers, people, representatives of security institutions, and people from all walks of life were present. The Allen City also presented the keys for the city. One of the people from Allen stated, the city of Allen, said today I took part in the historical inauguration of the Betul Ikram Mosque, and I'm privileged to do so. I would like to congratulate the Ahmadiyya community and its leader on this amazing inauguration. The mayor met me 2 days previously. He had come to the mosque and met me, and he was apologizing that he is leaving the country and was not be able to be present and was sent a representative. But he was a very friendly and social individual. Then the representative of the mayor says, we acknowledge the services of the Ahmadiyya community, including serving food for impoverished, collecting clothes for those in need, and for helping those people here to provide them with shelter and many other services. Then he says, it is a great fortune of the Allen city that there is a community who loves peace and service, adopted this city, and made this beautiful mosque here in this location. It is my wish that this mosque, not only for this city, but in fact for this entire vicinity, becomes a ray of hope. The mayor of Allen is a city which is connected to Dallas and now is practically a part of Dallas. That is the city of Allen. So from the council of Allen and Dallas, in effect, they presented the keys for the city. Professor Dr. Robert Hunt, who is from the Methodist University Perkins School of Theology, Global Theological Director, was present in the proceedings. I wish to express my thanks to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community that you enabled me to come and my people from the Methodist University to come here. It is a great source of pride for us to have attended. Then he says the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is dedicated to spreading goodness, with the first of which is religious freedom, and secondly is addressing and communicating between religious faiths. There is a deep connection between both of these, because within religions, if there is not mutual tolerance, and if there's not mutual respect, then discord actually increases. And I start on the foundation of this, that half my adult life I lived in such a country when I was in a religious minority. Then he says, the history testifies that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community was a target of persecution, and this is why they are now at the forefront of fighting for religious freedom. And until we don't live in mutual respect and in an open-minded fashion, we will simply not be able to overcome strife and discord, and we will not be able to eliminate negative elements from this society. Then Republican Congressman Honorable Michael McCall expressed his sentiments. He stated, the three religions of the world, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they all connect to Hazrat Abraham, or Ibrahim, peace be upon him. Then he said to me that it's your belief that all these Abrahamic religions can live in peace. And who has more experience in this than the Ahmadiyya Muslim community? Then he said to me that the teachings of the Ahmadiyya community about Jesus, peace be upon him, and the gospel we had opportunity to speak about. And regarding, he also had the book Jesus in India. I read half of it. I'm going to research further. He said, I've learnt about a lot of new things from this. He was a very well-educated individual, and he has a lot of interest in religion. Anyhow, he said, I had an opportunity to speak about the New Testament and the Gospels. There is no doubt that we can learn a lot about living in mutual respect and love from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. He said, I was brought up as a Catholic. I am the head of the Ahmadiyya caucus in the Congress. There is a group in the parliament which speaks in favor of the Ahmadiyya community, and he is the chairman of it. And he says in particular to end persecution, extremism, impoverishment, to spread economic decline, for the sake of religious freedom. I appreciate all of your efforts. Then he said, many Ahmadis were targeted and killed. Despite this ongoing series of persecution, the leader of the Ahmadiyya community forbid anyone from replying in harsh manner. This is a great teaching. Then he states, the leaders of the Ahmadiyya community particularly said to the world leaders that we need justice for world peace. When he raised a voice for the weaker nations. And this is how he expressed many sentiments of this type which go on. One guest, Tom Berry, says, I would like to thank the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. His leader of hospitality, mutual respect, and tolerance were all excellently presented. It is a great teaching that irrespective of your faith and religion, we should work for the betterment of each other to the greatest degree possible. We should respect other people's life, we should respect people, we should respect humans, and this all demonstrates that we should not just look at just one individual. We should all work together in a united way. This is the message of the Khalifa. This is such a message that before we sleep every day and before we wake up every day, we should repeat it to each other, and we should spread it in all directions. We should explain this teaching to our children, because when we are no longer here, then they should continue spreading this message. I would like to also express my thanks to you. Then a Muslim guest, Sultan Chaudhry Sahib, said, the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community gave a message of peace. I believe this is a splendid message, and this is a necessary message. And I believe that this fear about Muslims should be removed, that they will simply seize this country. He has promised that because nobody is trying to do conspiracy from the behalf of Muslims, therefore there is no reason for Muslims to physically take up weapons. There was a person who came from the Presbyterian Church, a lady who came, a female, from a representative of the Presbyterian Church. Seeing the Khalifa, it gave me a lot of contentment hearing his message. I have never seen anyone work for world peace in this way. It is a great feeling. If people remove their selfishness, or if they want to overcome their neighbors, or instead of trying to seize other people's rights, they listen to this message, then we can establish peace in the world. If only we can be those who listen more to these speeches and remind people that they should always follow the ways of establishing peace. Collin County Police Department, there was a representative from there as well who also took part. I said it was a beautiful program which I learnt greatly from. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community carried out an excellent work. Then a Muslim friend, Halim or Rahman, says, a Muslim guest, this was absolutely unbelievable. The organization, the hospitality, all of it was amazing, and the event. He says that I was not deserving of the respect extended to me. Seeing all of this, that my eyes have now become numb. I had an opportunity to spend time amongst excellent people, and there are people who truly follow Islam. People say this when they are in other countries, but when they say this when they go back to Pakistan, the Maulvis, the clerics, will not let them live if they say this. One female guest stated, Abby Kirkendall, I saw a religious organization whose way of worship is different to us, but our values are the same. It was an excellent experience for me. It was a means of great pride for me. That the Imam, the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, who is a religious leader, is speaking about such values that should be absorbed by all communities and societies. She says that now when I have come here to this event, I have felt the existence of God. And where you feel the existence of God, there you gain peace and security, which was gained by everyone here, irrespective of religion and faith. This is something which is needed by everyone. Then a female guest stated, what was most prominent for me here was the address of the worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya community. Despite differences of religious beliefs, he explained how we are connected to one another. I believe this is such a teaching which is very rarely seen in interreligious dialogue. And I am so delighted to have heard this, that despite the differences in religious beliefs, all humanity are connected to one another. And how we should live together in this way. Then a guest, female guest stated, Mary McDomas states, she was a neighbor in the Dallas Mosque. To the Dallas Mosque, she has a very large plot of land adjoining to the Dallas Mosque, and she had given a space for parking. She said, I've never been so delightful by this empty, muddy land as I have been by giving it for this mosque program. She was a very sincere and honorable lady. In fact, she had it cleaned, she had it leveled, and then she gave it to us for our use of parking. Then another lady, Beverly McCord, said, I always like to hear international religious leaders because of the need for establishing peace and a call towards love and affection. I always am happy listening to such messages. On a personal level, I have no fear from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, and I do not understand the fear found in other people, because this is a community that expresses great love, who has great feeling and sentiment towards others and greatly serves humanity. If anyone has any fear, then as soon as they see their social work, they will immediately alleviate these fears. Then a guest named Joshua stated, today in this inaugural address, I and other senior priests were invited. I had the opportunity to speak to many people, and I greatly appreciate how with great wisdom, peace, tolerance and love was spoken about. I also truly, keenly felt that these are such people who are from different backgrounds, cultures and civilizations, yet they are raising the flag of the existence of God amongst all of us. And because our actions have an effect on others, therefore to sit like this and to eat and to speak to one another is important. I was telling my wife today that everything was so excellently organized. Similarly, there is a small mosque that is about 3.5 acres. It is quite a large building there. It was a building that was actually built there. It was called Fort Worth. It is about 50-60 miles from Dallas. We went there as well. It is 4.75 acres, not 3.5, and 13,000 square feet place. There is a multi-purpose hall, offices, lobbies. In fact, we have an indication to build a dome and 2 minarets to give it a picture of a mosque. The local community also say the prayers there. It is a good place, and I also had the opportunity to lead the Maghrib and Isha, the evening and night prayers there. One guest, Abragas, who lives in Fort Worth, came to the inauguration of the Dallas Mosque. He said the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, according to the will of Allah, has given us a message of working with mutual cooperation, and gave an excellent message. To save us from nuclear war and world war is something that has great importance for me on a personal level. This message that whoever will be a part of this war will be destroyed is a great message and will be a part of it. Then from Fort Worth, the First United Methodist Church member, a female guest, was also present there. She says that the message was a glorious one. In fact, this clear message of the Khalifa should be listened by all. The way of the Khalifa of the time speaking was also really good, and I want to listen to it again. Then a teacher of the high school ministry says, two aspects of the Khalifa had great importance for me. One, he acknowledged that in the society that there are reservations against Islam in the society. As a teacher, I see this amongst my students. The second thing, which I really appreciated, was the negation of the use of nuclear weapons mentioned by the Khalifa. In the current circumstances, such a wise message was something that I really enjoyed. These were just a mere few messages and sentiments of some of the guests. There are also other details that I would like to present. In the Zion Mosque, as you have already seen on MTA, there was an exhibition with relation to the Mubahila of Dawi, the prayer deal with Dawi. The various newspapers cuttings were also present. The Promised Messiah, peace be upon him, in Majmu'a Ishtaharat, he wrote 32 newspapers and said these are only those newspapers who have reached us. And there are hundreds of newspapers who would have mentioned this. So the USA Ahmadiyya Muslim Community carried out further research, and they searched for further newspapers. Apart from these 32 newspapers, the Promised Messiah mentioned, and now 128 newspapers have been discovered, which mentions the challenge with Dawi. So the total amount now is now 160 from the time of the Promised Messiah. That is in the United States. These are now also digitally present in the exhibition of the Zion Mosque, the Mosque of the Grand Victory. People came and saw it. Then the inaugural opening, newspapers, American news agency, Associated Press, during my tour of US and by the inauguration of the Zion Mosque, the Mosque of the Grand Victory, Masjid Fateh Azim also published a report. It was Two Prophets, Century-Old Prayer Duel Inspires Zion Mosque. Zion, this was the title of this newspaper article. According to the media outlet website, almost half the world's population read it. This was in 13 newspapers, in 420 outlets and newspapers, including Washington Post, ABC News, Toronto Star, The Hill, and many other well-known publications and newspapers. Associated Press was in the top 10 read news articles of the Associated Press. 10 important newspapers, it was said. In Zion, 115 years ago, the newspaper says 115 years press, and many people believe in this. Ahmadis in the Lake Michigan, there is a great significance and importance there. From this city, 100 years ago, the Ahmadiyya community had a link, and it started with a prayer duel and a prophecy. The foundation of Zion City was laid in 1900 by someone who claimed to be the Messiah on the basis of theocracy by John Alexander Dowie, who was an evangelist. And the Ahmadis believe that their founder, Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, replied to this and defended it. And he defeated them based on a prayer duel. Nobody knew about this. However, this prayer duel had a permanent link with Zion as a result. Thousands of Ahmadi Muslims from around the world to remember this prayer duel that was done between Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and Alexander Dowie, in which Mirza Ghulam Ahmad won the prayer duel, have come and attended this. And this article continued in this way and said, "It is the belief of Ahmadis that the glad tidings was given by the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community," and said, in Canada as well, there was a lot of coverage about the opening of the mosque in Zion. With the grace of Almighty Allah, 6 online publications and radio stations also did the coverage of Zion, and it reached hundreds of thousands of people from Canada, America, the UK, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, India, Hong Kong, Peru, Philippines, South Africa, Tanzania, Vietnam. All these online newspapers in these countries publish reports about it. The American news agency, as I mentioned, Associated Press, this article was printed in 200 newspapers of America and in 176 online newspapers. In addition, through MT Africa, there was live coverage of this function. From Zion and Dallas, it was played, the khutbahs, the sermons were played on Gambia National TV, Senegal National TV, and hundreds of thousands of people watched through this. In Zion, the Mosque of the Grand Victory, a half an hour before the live program, there was a live studio program on MTA Africa. And also in the local languages, they told about Alexander Dowie and the prophecy of the promised Messiah. Throughout Africa, news reports were published and also radio programs and online articles. In Uganda, 5 channels, in Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, there were also TV channels who published news reports about the tour. Amir Saab, Sierra Leone, National President of Sierra Leone, writes that 20-year-old, a friend, met me. a 20-year-old friend, met me, who did the Pledge of Allegiance at the Jalsa Salana, UK. When he saw the program in Zion, he stated, "The day I did the Pledge of Allegiance, that night I was very regretful that why did I take so long to do the bet? But if I say truly that the day I saw the program of the Zion Mosque, I said to myself that if Amir Sahib had previously told me about the incident of Alexander Dowie, perhaps I would have done the bet 20 years ago. I have never been so convinced by any religious event like this prophecy of Zion has done to me. I saw this as the biggest challenge of this time, and the biggest thing is that in this time, this was done through the Western media. The Imam Mahdi arrived, and he made such a prophecy as if he was present himself and in a place where Allah delivered his verdict personally. I believe whenever we do preaching to non-Ahmadis, we should certainly mention the Zion exhibition, because this is a very impactful prophecy. The day I did the Pledge of Allegiance, I believed that perhaps I did the right decision. But after the Zion prophecy, I breathed a sigh of relief, and I was completely convinced that my 20-year search did not go to waste. In addition, there were various other activities in Washington and Maryland, in Ghana and Sierra Leone. There were ambassadors who came from there, and I spoke to them as well. And I had good meetings with them as well. Then I also met the new converts. And there were various new converts who came. And I said to find old African American Ahmadis, and they had found some of them. And there was also opposition to those who newly converted. One female new convert stated that when her family found out, they opposed greatly. They left her. Then a Ahmadi of Bangladesh said that the missionary explained to me with great tolerance and patience, and then I understood. And then he said to the other converts that I have understood Islam Ahmadiyyat, and I am telling you that this is the true Islam. Therefore, never leave this. One new Ahmadi, African American, who became Muslim from Christianity, he requested to do the bet, and so we did the bet, the oath of allegiance, and that also had a good and positive impact upon the old Ahmadis, the new Ahmadis, and many people who came there. People had come as refugees, and Pakistanis as well. They all had the opportunity to take part in the bet, the oath of allegiance, and it was a very emotional atmosphere. Anyhow, with the grace of Almighty Allah, collectively, Allah the Almighty, in every respect, has blessed this tour. May Allah the Almighty enable it to continue being blessed.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر